This is Jerry Machewski with Balance Community Slackline Outfitters out here in Germantown, Maryland. Today we're going to be looking at the Balance Community LineGrip and how to use it. Let's get started. Alright, the first thing you're going to want to do is to set up your slackline as normal here, but instead of going straight to the pulley system, we're going to attach our line straight to a webbing anchor, in this case the Alpine webblock, attached to our sling going around the tree. And with this method I'm going to show you, we're going to use a separate sling for our tensioning system, which is here attached and already extended out. And then we're going to attach the line grip to it, and then attach it to the webbing, tension the line, pull slack through the web lock, and release tension off of the pulley system to leave a cleanly set up slack line without a heavy tensioning system attached inside the slack line. So let's get started. Alright, so we got our pulley system fully extended here and our line grip attached to our pulley system. So what first we're going to want to do is remove the retainer clip there, open the line grip, take off the top plate. So in this method, since my tensioning system sling is above the Alpine web lock, I'm going to install the line grip upside down. So insert the webbing like that, put the top plate like that, make sure it gets in the hooks there. And then on the other side, insert the retainer clip, just like that. There we go. As you can see, it's installed correctly. And you want to make sure that the webbing lines up real nice at the exit here, and that it doesn't interact with your pulleys when you're tensioning. Alright, so now we can apply tension. So before you start tensioning your line, you're going to want to add as much slack as you can by pulling slack through your web lock. Get that as tight as you can to limit the amount of work you need to do with your pulley system. That'll save a lot of time. There we go, that's about as tight as we can get it. And so now what we'll do is we'll slide this out. Go. Slip that out as far as we could. And now come back over here, move this back a little bit. And start tensioning here. As you can see, the tail leaving the web lock is loose. And the more we tension here, the looser this will get. So it's very important to as you're tensioning with your pulley system, pull slack through the web lock to limit any danger if the line grip were to slip, and never release this while the line grip isn't engaged while tensioning your line. It's very dangerous. There have been cases where the line grip slips, especially when high heat is, when it's really hot outside. The line grip is more prone to slippage, and so keep that in mind. Always keep this tight and always connected right there. So let's continue to tension, adding the multiplier. So even though this must remain tight, you got to be careful to not let it interfere with your tensioning. Make sure you don't nick it or fray it while you're tensioning your line. Make sure it doesn't interact with any of the pulleys. enough tension for now. So there's also, before we go to the next step, there's also the possibility of putting your tensioning sling below the webbing. But I don't like doing that because gravity causes this to go down. And when the pulley system's down here, this loose tail tends to get wrapped up inside the tensioning ropes and can cause some issues, especially fraying the webbing pretty badly sometimes. And so I always put the tensioning system above when I can. It's sometimes hard when your anchor's above head, but if it's possible, always put it above. But if you are forced to put it below, remember to turn the line grip around the other way. See, as we have it now, it's upside down. But if our pulley system was below, we want to rotate this around to be hanging so that the eye is down here rather than up here. If that makes sense. Alright, so now that we have as much tension as we need, pull all the slack out of the web lock here. Line up your anchor as you want it to be. And then you can controllably release tension off of your pulley system very carefully. There we go. And now this line is tight. And we can remove first by opening it by pushing forward on the hooks there and back down here and slide it closer to the anchor. And uninstall it by removing the retainer clip, pushing the top plate out of the way, and then voila. So this can be a multi-step process where you might collapse your pulleys several times, needing to reset. In that case, just do what I just did, and then you can reinstall the pulley system with the line grip, extend your pulleys out, and tension more if needed. Alright, so now we have a tight line. How do we detension it? One method is to install a soft release beforehand, which you can find a link to in the description below. Another method would be to use our pulley system but in reverse. So we're going to want to reinstall the line grip just like this. Remember, upside down, because our tensioning anchor is going to be above the web lock anchor. Just like that. And then we're going to want to keep this distance pretty small. And I'll explain why in a second. So collapse your pulleys pretty small. Bigger than that though. Just enough to get the multiplier in there. The reason why we want this to be small is because we only need a little bit of tension to get this loose enough to remove it from here. But we do need a lot of room in our pulleys to fully loosen the line, especially if it's really long and a high stretch webbing, say type 18. If we had a 300-foot type 18 line, it's going to want to de-stretch about 20 feet before it's loose, even more than that, 30 feet. And so if we start with a really long pulley system, we don't have much room to let the slack out. So start with a really short one, ensuring your tail is quite long, and tension up right here, like we're going to do right now. Install your multiplier. It looks like we don't have quite enough room here. enough. Almost. There we go, that should be plenty. That's right. So now this is loose enough. We can remove the pin here. So this, as I mentioned before, you should never release this while the line grip is engaged, but it's nearly impossible to do that when you're detensioning unless you use a soft release here. Then you won't have to fiddle with this method. Alright, so now uninstall your multiplier, and then you can fully detension your line. As I mentioned before, this is where you need a long pulley system. So the more tail you have, the better, depending on how long the line is, of course. And there we go, we're de-rigged. So that's basically how you use the line grip. Some of the benefits of using the line grip to tension your line is having a really clean anchor to anchor slack line. There's no additional hardware or additional weight swinging around in the line. It's especially useful for high lines. It's nice to minimize the amount of points from one side to the other that can go wrong. So removing your pulley system from the equation completely by tensioning with the line grip is very beneficial. Thanks again for watching. My name is Jerry Mashesky with Balance Community Slackline Outfitters. To view more information about the line grip, visit our website, balancecommunity.com, and also view other articles at slackscience.com. Thanks again.